Hello family, this is our solutions video for the Can You Do number 3. We did the front side together in class, and so now we're just going to go over the back side to make sure that you are feeling ready for your quiz 4. So the backside gives a random sample of 20 employees. The salaries are in the thousands. It wants you to make a dot plot. So I did my dot plot from 25 to 80. And we've talked about on these problems, sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that. We've talked about on these problems how we want to look at the shape, the center, the spread, and if there's anything unusual about the graph. So I would say the shape is very uninteresting because the spread is large. So this graph has a large spread. So this data varies from 28 to 77. So that is a very large spread, especially for this data set. And because the spread is so large, it's making it so that the shape, there really is no discernible or distinguishing shape about this data set. So that's shape. Center, we did center on the problems in class. The center of this data set is at 47. It's this point right here. So I guess we can write that down. The median is equal to $47,000. So shape, we don't really, there's nothing special about it. Spread is very large. It goes from 28 to 77. Center is about $47,000. And then the last thing is, are there any unusual points? I would say anything from where I've marked. So from about 60,000 on, I'm wondering if these are what we would consider to be outliers. These salaries seem much higher than the rest of the salaries for this company. The last question that they wanted us to answer was, what percentage of the sample of employees have a salary of at least $60,000? So that means that we start at 60 and we count to the right. At least 60,000 means start at 60,000 and count to the right. So if we do that, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people out of a total of 20 people. Gives you a percentage of 30%. 30% of the employees have a salary of at least 60,000. So just to recap the important things from this problem. Now, I've been thinking about a way that I can reward the students that are taking advantage of these videos and watching them to better themselves and better understand the content. So all of the stuff that we're about to talk about is stuff that will either for sure be on your quiz 4, or something like it will be on quiz 4. So I'm about to go through some things that are going to help you tremendously for quiz 4. So if you're watching this, hopefully it's before you take quiz 4, and I hope that you feel rewarded when you take your quiz and recognize that watching this helped you do well on the quiz. So you are probably going to get a question, I haven't decided 100% for sure or not, that asks you to identify some things about the graph. And we talked about those in part A of this problem. So for shape on this guy, I would say that this shape, there's nothing special about this shape. There's no skew. There's really not, I mean, there's a peak at 42. but this data set is just so spread out that there really is hardly any shape at all. So the shape is not very interesting, but the shape on this guy is interesting. He is what we would call skewed right. Remember, it's like a skier. If the direction he's skiing towards would be what your skew is. So this shape, not interesting. Center is $47,000. Spread, very large spread from 28 to 77. And unusual points, yes, I think that these salaries are unusual, especially these ones in the 70s. I think that those are very unusual, and I would want to know if they are outliers. Now, on your quiz, this is not a maybe, this is 100% for sure. On your quiz, you are going to get a data set, and you are going to make a split stem plot. You're going to split your stems. So on the quiz, on quiz 4, 100% for sure, you will be splitting stems on the stem plot that you make. So I am going to make a little note of this at the top. Split stems on quiz. I hope my face hasn't been big this whole time. If it has, I apologize, and hopefully you could see a little bit of what was going on in the background. I'm so sorry, guys, if you couldn't see what I was writing. On this, I'm writing split stems on quiz, and then if it doesn't take me forever, I'll show you where that's at in our notes. So we're talking about this process right here, where you take the stems and you write a lower stem and an upper stem. So on your quiz tomorrow, you are going to split the stems and make a split stem plot. And just in case I was covering up all of the things I was telling you, these are the points that I think are unusual. So tomorrow on for some of you, tomorrow on the quiz, you're going to make a split stem plot. Okay, moving on. Here are the amounts of money in coins, so cents, carried by 10 students in a statistics class. To make a stem plot of these data, you would use the stems A. I personally would use A. If your minimum value is 0 and it's looking like your maximum value is 97, you have to have stems all the way from 0 to 9. You can't leave any stems out. So from 0 to 9 would be the stems that you would use on number 69. On number 74, hopefully the notes that we took here about the advantage of a stem plot compared to a histogram. Which of the following is the best reason for choosing a stem plot rather than a histogram? It is B as in boy. Stem plots allow you to see the values of individual observations. Stem plots are better for displaying large data sets. That's a histogram. Stem plots don't require rounding. That's not an issue. Stem plots make it easier to determine the shape. I don't really feel like there's an advantage between a stem plot and a histogram. Stem plots allow you to split stems. Yes, splitting stems would be the same thing as changing the bin size on a histogram. So it says you can split stems. Well, for a histogram, just change the bin size. So it has to be option B. You actually get to see the data values in a stem plot. So the biggest takeaway so far for quiz 4 is just talking about this data set loosely, so not very formally, about the shape, the center, the spread, and unusual points. So I'm going to say it one more time because I've said it a million times. Not an interesting shape. Very large spread. The middle is $47,000, and I think that these points out here are very unusual. If you were asked to do something similar for this graph, I would say the shape is right skewed. The spread is very large because of this highly unusual point all the way out here at 100. So shape right skewed. Spread is very large. This is a super unusual point. And to find the center, you would have to do what we did in class. Find the middle observation of 136 students and list the bin that would be in. I'm not asking you to do that on this one because this is so large. And you don't have this problem anywhere. I guess I should have made that clear. This problem is not in any of your packets. It's just by me, and so I thought I would use it to talk about shape. On your quiz 4, you're for sure.
Just a reminder,
People
we still have the
really
food shop here up in the breezeway of the auditorium. We also have translators, the LIA, here in the main office.
Ma'am,
if you need one.
Please hurry.
Please contact me or
I guess I could just pause the video.
Email or Skype and we'll...
Okay, she kept talking for like another hour, so sorry I didn't realize to pause sooner. I don't even remember what I was saying, so hopefully it was at a good stopping point. On the quiz, you're doing a split stem plot. Make sure that you study that. And then I want to use this question because you're going to have one like it on your quiz. So unless you watch this solutions video, you don't know what's coming. This is a statistics class with 136 students. So N is 136. The professor records how much money in dollars each student has in his or her possession during the first class of the semester. The histogram shows the data that were collected. So what this means is that this bin is $0 to $9.99. Because remember, in a histogram, you always include the left-hand value, not the right-hand value. So that means that this bin is $10 to $19.99. Because this bin is $20 to $29.99. Because this bin starts at 30. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. What this means, like, let's go off of this one. This means that there were about 19 students in his class that had between $20 and $29.99 in their pockets. It's kind of a lot. 19 kids had that much. I'm probably in this big, ginormous bar. So one kid was rolling around with over $100, or I guess I should say $100 to $109. So the question is, what is the percent of students with less than $10 in their possession? So that would be this bar and this bar only. It says less than $10, so notice I've already told you that this is kids that have $0 to $9.99. So this is telling us that about 61 students in his class had between $0 and $10. So we do 61 divided by 136, and you're going to get something like 45%. So it is very important that you understand how to read your bin and how to understand how many observations are in a bin. So that is it. I'm just going to recap very quickly what to expect on your quiz. This belongs to quiz 4. You are going to have a few questions on histograms. You are not going to have to make a histogram. You are just going to have to look at a histogram. You will make a stem plot, but it is a split stem plot. You will be asked to very loosely, and not in a formal way, talk about shape, center, spread, and any unusual points. And then you will, I think that's it. So a couple of histogram questions. You don't make the histogram. Split stem plot. Be able to loosely look at a graph and say, oh, it looks like it's skewed to one direction. There's no unusual points, or there's a huge gap in the data. Just be able to describe a little bit about the data set. And I think that that's it. If you know all those things, you should be super solid and ready to go for quiz 4. Okay, as usual, if you guys have any questions, email me. I will get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, love you and hope things are going well.